All right. So pretty active Forex session. You guys probably should have done pretty well on Dragon here. So we'll just review the thinking. Yeah, so guys, this is basically the two pairs we trade this morning, and pretty simple with the model. You're coming in. This was a really nice wall down from the Asia session into London. You had a bounce about halfway back up this wall here. So anytime you get a wall like that, a wall is just identified by a series of candles and one fluid motion that creates this wall. So about halfway is where we failed. And so you just time that up with the candles, or the cycles, I mean. So here's the 15-minute. 15-minute was low. 15-minute cycle is high up here. I started fading. I started buying sterling, but I'll show you in a second. But once I saw this bearishness here, I started shorting. So you see this was a tail, but before that was a tail, is one giant, or not giant, but it was a pretty bearish 15-minute candle. So then inside of that drop, there's another wall. So about halfway up that wall, on the bounce back up, on the 1 minute and 5 minute, you start fading that move. And then you get the drop into the new lows. And so we played this entire 15-minute cycle really well. I'll show everyone here on the 5 minute, 1 minute what that looked like. And then we covered into the lows, and then we said you got to be patient shorting. You have to wait. The cycle is going to come all the way back up. So paying attention to time allows you to sidestep this rally back. Because everybody that missed it here is shorting all this bearishness once they see all this red. And they're completely unaware of the cycle being low. That's how they sell the low. When we were covering down there. And so what that looked like on the smaller time frames, second, guys. So on the smaller time frames, here's that move I was referring to. So you could see on the I lost my pen. Wow. So this was the start of the move. And then when I entered short here, I'm actually wanting the market to bounce up on me. I'm not. Amateur traders, they want to get in and they immediately want it to move in their favor. And then they get nervous on this backup. Well, bounce back up here. This bounce back up here is actually a gift, because then you can sell the higher prices and your risk is up here. So you can fade into this move and then you get the drop. So that's the 5 minute. Then we played this bounce too and covered into the low. And then I actually just started reshorting a little bit there. But then on the 1 minute, there's actually even more moves you can make. So you start shorting here, fading it on the way up. Got this topping tail. I shorted some bigger size there because you have a topping tail, you take out the low. Covered here, was just bidding below the market, re-shorting on this 1 minute. So this is just scalping around the 1 minute. And then obviously you get the collapse here. You need to be covering on new lows. I re-shorted this a little bit on this bounce. And again, after this move down, you create another wall. So I wanted a bounce after covering. I wanted a bounce to re-short, like you basically re-shorting on a scale all the way back. So on that bounce back up, I want that to come in higher, and then I would just be getting more heavier at higher levels. But you start shorting here a little bit, and then you get the secondary drop to new lows. And then we cover on new lows, just like we covered here, because that's a new low relative to here. Professionals, you cover new lows. The amateur didn't sell here. Waits for all this red, gets nervous that there's support, and then sells after all of this drop. That's what the amateur's doing. And then if it bounces back on them, they're getting nervous. So we drop to a new low, you cover. And then we got another bounce here. We faded this, covered some, faded this, and then covered into the low. And then by this point, we said, you guys, we probably need to be covering most of our short because this cycle was really low. And then once it crossed up, you just let this whole move happen without doing anything until the cycle is high again. And now the cycle's high, then you can start shorting a little bit. So I sold here. Got the drop, covered some, I'm still short, and I'm just going to play this next 15-minute cycle back down. And you're still in a nice downtrend. So pretty much nailed every move here. I mean, we're covering, shorting, covering, shorting, covering, shorting, covering pretty much out of 80, 90%. And then started selling again up here. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And then on cable I had to play a little bit, had to work a position a little bit more. These birds are going crazy. On cable, I started buying into this pullback right when we got on. And then you got that kind of hard flush. So short dragon, which helped because cable was coming off. But didn't panic because this is the bands down here. And this was actually really low within the cycle. And then said, all right, we get down here, I need to get more aggressive on the long side. And I mean, there's our pie line. So we drop into pie. We got long down here on this candle. Whoops. Getting long down here. We rode this long, day trade long. So you can be long, guys, from higher levels if you're patient enough with the cycle and then get your size on much deeper. And so I took some off into this move, bought some back down here. And then at this point, we were starting to get out of the long and start to lean short. And still, we were waiting on this cycle to come up. But started working a short here, covered some, resold into this bounce, and then covering some down here. Dragon's coming off again. So anyway, guys, pretty good session. You guys all make money on Dragon and Cable this morning? All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna do some work on crypto. You sent out some analysis today, and then I don't really have any updates as far as I didn't make any moves today. The market just hasn't done anything, so I haven't done any crypto trades. Well, we're looking at some new coins, so I'll come out you guys with some analysis later there. All right, guys, you're welcome. Good stuff. Gary, nice trade. That was good. Thanks for sharing that with the team. That was a good review. I like your scalping on the 1 minute. It's getting much better. So. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your trading day. Catch up with you on Thursday. All right, Rio. See you, man. Later, Danny, Mike, Gary. See you, Christine.